Right, what is up, you guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of Business Foundations in a Changing World. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Business in a Changing World, Chapter 1, the dynamics of business and economics. I'm going to keep it simple and brief. I'm going to be talking over some of the slides. You can pay closer attention to the slides by obviously pausing the video, but I'm going to be giving my own insight onto these existing ideas. So let's go first to, we're going to be obviously be talking or rather defining what a business is, what are products, what are the different types of products, obviously what the economy is, and the different types of economies in different countries. So let's start by a business. Obviously, whenever you mention the word business, a lot of people go to the mindset of making money. And while that is true to a certain extent, obviously a business is not, you're not just going to start a business and instantly make money. There's a lot that goes on behind it that we're going to cover today. So to simply tell you what business means, it is to try to earn profit by giving people what they want or need in terms of products. And products are the outcomes of your business's efforts. So for example, a product can be goods that you buy from the supermarket, or services such as Netflix or Disney Plus, or even ideas, believe it or not. So someone might ask me, how is an idea a product? Well, I'll answer that by giving you, by studying law. If you become a lawyer, you're basically using your ideas and your ways of argument to win someone, obviously a lawsuit, for example. So you get paid for this, and that is obviously a product. You're using yourself, your mindset, and your ideas as a product. And obviously a customer, or rather customers in this case, will need you 100% to solve their lawsuits and stuff like that. Okay, so like I said, these services, ideas, tangible goods, we talked about this. Now, like we said as well, the goal of a business is to earn a profit. How does that work? That is up to you, but the main concept is that you measure the amount that it takes to manufacture a good or a service, right? And you add, that depends on how you measure the price, and we'll talk about that in later videos. But let me give you, this is the easiest example here. This is like the simplest way to talk about profit. So if you, let's say for example, something like a toy, right? A toy that costs $8 to make. If I'm a business, I'll sell it for 10 and I make $2 profit. Well, if I want to go a little bit higher, I could, sell it for like 12 maybe, right? And then make $4 profit, but I risk people not coming to me, so I might have to resort to other ways to get people to buy my product. And we'll talk about these in a second as well. Okay? Obviously, businesses run the economy and they give society the support that it needs for social institutions and government, okay? Because obviously businesses pay taxes and create jobs, and that is the foundation of our economy. Okay, now we have something called nonprofit organizations, and it's the same concept as a business, except you take the main part out, the part where you earn money, hence the name nonprofit organizations. So these organizations don't rely, or don't rather make money, but they rely on things like fundraising, management, marketing, and finance to reach their goals. So they do not make money from what they do. Okay? Okay, so to earn a profit, well, you need management skills. Like we just said, we need management, marketing, and finance to reach goals. So it's very similar to nonprofit organizations. You're going to need management, and we'll talk about these in more detail in a second here. So management, marketing, finance to reach goals. Okay, so a business needs financial resources, also called as capital, and different skill sets from different employees to fund, maintain, and expand the operations. Other stuff like you need marketing expertise. How many times have you seen a business with your favorite actor or actress, just to get people to buy a certain product? All of these play in how products are going to be moved and how consumers are going to buy or need or want the product. And this obviously tells us how the prices, or tells the business how to price their products and how many of a certain product is to be manufactured. Okay? Now, let's move on to stakeholders. So, when we talk about stakeholders, we're simply talking about people, or rather, the main pillars that a business stands on. And these are different types of people, and they're all quite different, but they all play the same role of keeping the business alive. So, customers, employees, investors, government regulators, and the community in general. So, customers, employees, and investors are, in my opinion, the most important, because if your business does not bring in customers, you will fail. If you keep firing employees and no one can keep a job for more than 2 years, your business will most likely not grow, or it can even fail. Obviously, investors are a big part of it, because if you get outside capital, that gives you, the opportunity to grow and expand your business. So this is also very good. Okay, so to achieve and maintain profitability, like you see here, obviously this is a no-brainer. Businesses must produce equal products and operate efficiently. So you operate a business efficiently by using your capital efficiently. It's the same as having your own money. Think of a business as, you as a person using capital, or in this case, your money, as one person. So are you going to use this money efficiently or spend it on things that you don't really need? It's the same exact thing with a business, but on a much higher scale. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Overview of the business world. Okay, so when talking about the business world, you have three main pillars on top here. We have finance, marketing, and management, like we just talked. And actually, we'll dive into this right after this slide, I believe. And inside that, we have owners, customers, and employees. These are the three most important deciding factors inside here. So let's keep going. Okay, let's start with management. So when talking about management, think of it as managing. But management here, when it comes to business, is, the no-brainer stuff. Things like developing plans, obviously talking to employees, motivating people, and using your resources, whether that's capital, whether that's your employees, whether that's, marketing, whatever, effectively and efficiently. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people, when they first start a business, they do not use their resources effectively, and matter of fact, they efficiently shut down their business before they even started. Okay, so let's go to marketing. Marketing is a big one, because marketing is all around us. If you guys see, like, you go on the internet, there's marketing all over the place. You go outside, there's marketing. So everywhere you go, there is going to be marketing. So the focus of all marketing activities is to simply satisfy customers. And in order for someone to understand marketing, you got to understand what the customer needs or what the customer wants. You got to be appealing to the customer. So that is why businesses use many different marketing tactics to, get inside your head. You guys know humans are creatures of emotion and not creatures of critical thinking, if you will. So you play with our emotions just enough, and we might spend enough money on your business, believe it or not. So businesses tend to plan and develop products when marketing. They determine the price just to get it, just right. Or in this case, let's talk about Apple, for example. Apple they made quite the breakthrough a few years ago when they decided to, raise the prices quite high on their iPhones. But because it is Apple and it is known, that logo is well known, they still stayed in the business and are actually dominating. But if a normal small, I'd say, another company, I don't want to mention names here, but if another company tried to do that after being like a budget-friendly phone company for so long, they would probably not succeed, and it would end up negatively impacting the business a lot more than it would positively. Okay? So this is basically marketing in a nutshell. Okay, so finance, this one's pretty simple. So finance is capital. So the owner is primarily responsible for obtaining financial resources for the operation of the business. So when someone says, I want to start my own business, he or she has to use their own money and money from investors, or obviously eventually they can put their company or business in the stock market, and then obviously people become investors as well. So that is basically, in a nutshell, what finance is. So obtaining money, whether your own money or from investors, and using said money effectively. Okay, so we're going to go quickly over why you should study business. Obviously, this one's a no-brainer. You develop skills for career success. Whether you want to go through a career or you want to build your business later on, studying business will obviously help you in more ways than you can imagine when it comes to either going through a career or building your own later on. So some business career opportunities, you can go through HR or human resources management, IT, finance, wholesaling, retailing, production and operations, and marketing. Could also go with management. Okay, now the next one as to why you should study business, and this is my personal favorite and the reason that I think business is so important in today's world. Technological advancements are being made. So for me, as someone that likes technology, I like to be well informed of what is going on around me when it comes to, why is something priced the way it is? Why does a football player make a lot more money than a top surgeon where I live, for example? So questions like these are answered when studying business. So you don't have to, ask yourself and sound weird when you say, "Hey, why am I not making as much money as someone that does less work," for example? Because it doesn't work like that. Okay, so we're not the ones, well, and I'll talk about that in the economy in a second here, but we're not the ones that are actively putting the prices, but rather the market does, and supply and demand and stuff like that. I'll talk about that later and in later episodes as well. So what I would basically want to say is being aware of your surroundings when buying and selling items is great to have, is a great skill set to have. That's all I'm saying. All right, so let's keep going. So, economic foundations of business. So, these are the economic foundations of business. As you can see, we have HR, also called labor. We have financial resources, also called capital, like I told you guys, intangible resources, natural resources, and economics. Okay, so economic systems. There are different economic systems used by different countries, but there is no country that practices only one pure system, although they do favor more systems over the other, and we'll talk about different ones in a second here. So basically, an economic system, that's basically a description for how a certain society uses its resources for its services and to produce goods and such. Okay? Now, all economic systems must address these three important issues, as you can see down below here. So, what goods and services are, and how much of each will satisfy customers' needs, or not customers' needs, consumers' needs. Both of them are correct. How will goods and services be produced? Who will produce them, and with what resources will they be produced? And three, how are the goods and services to be distributed to consumers? Obviously, now this one is quite important in recent times simply because of the rise of the internet and online retailing and drop shipping and stuff like that. So, how will goods and services be distributed in the future with the rise of the internet? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be through a retail shop? All of these are questions that have to be answered and addressed in an economic system. Okay, so let's start with the first economic system, and it's called communism. I'm pretty sure most of you have probably heard about all of these. So, communism, socialism, and capitalism, and we'll talk about all of them in a second here. So, communism, first described by Karl Marx as a society in which the people, without regard to class, own all the nation's resources. So, what this basically means is you, as a society member, get to own all of the nation's resources without the government interfering. So, although it does seem efficient in practice, these economies that practice communism can have, or can suffer from some major points. Things like low standards of living, very high prices, corruption and little freedom, and critical shortages of consumer goods. Imagine walking into a supermarket and most of the stuff that you want are not even available. Yeah, that's what happens in communism. Okay, now let's move on to socialism. Okay, so socialism, on the other hand, is somewhere a little bit more balanced, if you will. So it's an economic system in which the government owns and operates basic industries. However, individuals are the ones that own most businesses. Right? So, you let government take care of things like basic industries, so healthcare, education, stuff like that. But individuals can own most, let's say, a small business like a food truck, for example, or a restaurant. These are all businesses that can be owned by individuals. Most socialist countries are democratic and recognize basic individual freedoms. Hence, why individuals can own most businesses when it comes to socialism. When it comes to socialism in an economy. Now, a socialist economy may allow a higher standard of living and is more stable, but you got to understand that obviously taxes are going to be higher and unemployment rate is going to, again, be somewhat higher in socialist countries. Okay, now let's talk about capitalism, also called as free enterprise. So, an economic system in which individuals own and operate the majority of businesses that provide goods and services. So, capitalism, again, is similar to socialism, except individuals now own and operate the majority of businesses that provide actual goods and services. So, individuals can own a lot more businesses on capitalism than with socialism. Okay? So pure capitalism, that means capitalism only. Remember when I talked in the beginning of the video how no country just goes through one of them and says, hey, we're socialist, we're not doing anything else. No, they usually tend to favor one of the three, whether that's communism, socialism, or capitalism. But they also implement ideas from other economic systems, whether that's, socialism with a little bit of capitalism, whether that's socialism with a little bit of communism. You get the idea. Okay? Now, in case of pure capitalism or free market system, all economic decisions are made without government intervention at all, okay? So when it comes to pure capitalism, nothing like that is practiced, by the way, happens when all economic decisions are made without government intervention at all. Now, when it comes to modified capitalism, this is when the government sometimes intervenes and regulates businesses to some extent, okay? So I personally think that modified capitalism is better simply because having the government, when the government actually intervenes and regulates some of the stuff is better. Okay, now let's talk about mixed economies. So no country practices pure capitalism, socialism, or communism, okay? So all countries practice some sort of mixed economies. So obviously economies are made up of elements from more than one economic system, whether that's capitalism, socialism, communism, with a little bit of the other in between. No country practices a pure form of any economic system, although most favor one system over others. So I might have a country that uses the three different economies, however, they favor one over the other two. Okay? So, for example, China and Russia have used state capitalism to advance the economy, but integrating powers of the state with the advantages of capitalism. Okay? Now let's talk about something called the free enterprise system. So many large economies, or actually let me explain what the free enterprise system is first. So a free enterprise system is basically a system that allows a business to fail or succeed based on the market demand itself. So if your products don't work, you're not going to get funding and your business will fail. However, if you create a certain, or you start a business with a certain product that's in demand or in very high demand, your business will succeed and will be booming, and that means you'll do better, you can expand and stuff like that. You'll raise more capital, etc. So that is basically what the free enterprise system is. So obviously, many large economies are free enterprise. So I think countries like the US, Canada, and Japan are all free enterprise economies. They implement the free enterprise system. Okay, so obviously many communist and socialist countries apply free enterprise principles, including China and Russia. So when talking about communist and socialist countries, I'm talking about countries that favor communism and socialist, not countries that practice pure communism and pure socialism. Okay? And generally, when there's a free enterprise system, entrepreneurs and business owners are a lot more creative. Okay? Now let's move on to individual and business rights. basic individual and business rights which must exist in order for free enterprise to work. So in order for this system right here to work, these are some of the stuff that actually have to exist in order for someone, or in order in this case for a free enterprise system to work. So the right for an individual to own a property, the right to earn profits and use them as one wishes. So if I earn profits, but I can't really use that money to go on a vacation, for example, me as a business owner, if this doesn't work or if this doesn't exist, it's not really free enterprise now, is it? Right to determine business operations and your right to choose a career to pursue, where to live, and where to locate a certain business, and what goods, services to purchase, and more. So all of these have to exist in order for a free enterprise system to work. Okay, so that was the first episode. I'll be making more episodes in the future. Let me know if you like this or not, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.